get into it. We can get into it. Body fluids on the floor, get into it like a hood. We can get into it. We can get into it. Body fluids on the floor, get into it like a hood. What's the motion? Swing a right finger with a left, going straight. Take the heart out his chest. Nut buck in the club. Homegirls lose the heel saying, fuck my new curls and fuck them bum bitches. They talk like they hands on Mike Tyson. It's killed to be killed when I'm fighting. My sisters not watching, they jumping like double dutch. They like transition cause violence is given. Soft bitches is tripping.
I'm that petrifying to these billion-dollar companies? Well, good. I hope I am. And I hope everybody else becomes that. I mean, this is what they're afraid of. They're afraid of one voice. Imagine.
We all have joined a circus here. And in that circus, there is going to be all sorts of inappropriate messages, inappropriate behavior, and sometimes downright sexual predatory aspects of it.
My dog stepped on a bee.
Lord! Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. All right? That was a nice one. Okay. I'm out here. Uh-oh, Richard.
I mean arrested for disorderly conduct?
Yeah.
I'm transgender, non-binary, and I don't want to be searched by a man. I claim my Fourth Amendment rights.
I find myself in New Zealand playing the first female dwarf and immersing myself in the world of Middle-earth in such an extraordinary way.
You have all these actors who have become famous playing these
parts,
characters,
yeah.
But they're not movie stars.
Right.
Captain America is the star.
Right.
Thor is the star.
If the only gatekeepers to movie stardom came from Tarantino and Scorsese, I would never have had the opportunity to lead a $400 million plus movie. I'm in awe of their filmmaking genius. They are transcendent auteurs, but they don't get to point their nose at me or anyone.
The evolution of the business has gone to, like, there are no movie stars anymore. Like, Anthony Mackie isn't a movie star. The Falcon is a movie star.
If you do win an award tonight, don't use it as a platform to make a political speech, right? You're in no position to lecture the public about anything. You know nothing about the real world. Most of you spent less time in school than Greta Thunberg. So, if you win, right, come up, accept your little award, thank your agent and your God, and f*** off, okay?
Yo, yo! What up? Welcome back to Dudes Brewing.
Hello, hello, hello.
I'm here with your boy Kels.
And Bendo.
Yes, you guys, it's the end of year review for 2022.
Oh, when we're going into 2023.
Heading into New Year. So it's going to be a new vibe, new energy, new waves for everybody. So we hope you guys had a Merry Christmas.
Oh, yes.
And and a Happy New Year.
New Year, that's the thing that they always combine. I like
going
it.
into the shabam. So we want to say, if you're going to get on your hustle, you get on your hustle now, okay?
Yes.
No New Year's resolutions. We're tired of that. Every year you got some resolution you stick to for
a new gym.
A month. A month. You know, you get a gym membership, and then they're collecting money for the rest of the year from you. You didn't go to the gym. So
100%. If you're 100%. What Kel's saying, you got to do it. Just do it.
Yeah, it's either you're about it. You either be about it, or or
don't do it,
or you're not about it. You know, but what are you about? That's what it comes down to. So gotta have passion in you. So.
Love that.
Yeah.
I like the many people on our list this year. Some of them had passion. Some of them didn't.
Yeah, some of them didn't. There's been some passionate pop culture events that have happened over this year, and so we're here to cover all those topics. So we can start off with a number of things. Well, just quickly, one thing that I thought about is we all came out of this lockdown situation. Everybody was.
Oh yeah, that was part of the New Year's.
Yeah, leading into the New Year.
Yeah, that was good.
It's been a doozy. I think it's hard to remember. I think for a lot of people, the last 2 years have been like a blur.
That was literally I didn't do anything.
Everyone was put into a blender. So.
This is amazing. He knows what it is.
Stand your ground.
Doing the splandemic, whatever you want to call it, you know, or, you know, the plague.
The plague.
Call it the plague.
Oh, the plague?
The plague.
Oh, the plague, of course. The Black Plague.
Yeah, is that why you gotta be black for it?
You haven't seen the last of us! You've seen the last of us.
Look at me. We're going into 2022. African plague, not black plague. African. No, I'm just joking.
It's the diverse plague.
Exactly.
I'm sorry.
I'm gonna insert Donald Trump going China.
Let's say China. China.
China.
China. China. China. China. China. China. China.
It's an ambiguous plague.
The
Sorry,
ambiguous plague.
That's what I meant to say.
That's what he means to say.
I'm trying to make sure everyone is connected in this plague.
Exactly.
We don't want to just have.
We're all one. We're like glue, peanut butter, and jelly.
Brother, don't do this. We are the same. Please, your chocolate and peanut butter with a Reese's Pieces. We come together. We are the same.
You know, exactly.
Everyone can be the plague. You can be the plague.
Exactly. We are the peanut butter. You are the jelly. yeah. But we made it. We made it. We're here. We're alive. We're thriving. You know, out of situations that happen throughout the year, there's been a number of topics across the board, and one of the biggest pop culture topics we could talk about is obviously Will Smith.
Keep fucking my wife's mouth!
I'm going to, okay?
And Chris Rock, that the slap heard around the world.
Oh my days!
Yeah.
I actually went straight because I don't know about you, but I didn't watch the Oscars this year or even the last couple. I used to be a massive fan.
Yeah.
For anyone of you out there, I used to always watch it. Me and my mom when I was a
I
little kid.
I don't know anybody that watches the Oscars anymore. Man.
Nah, not anymore.
And that's not a shot. I mean, I'm an actor, so I mean, but I don't know many actors that actually care to sit and watch
Oscars,
it.
yeah.
And so like there's some musicians like that boycott the Grammys, like Drake does. You know, he's not affiliated with the Grammys or whatever.
Yeah,
whoever.
and Beyonce and all that.
Yeah.
But I only jumped on to see it because I didn't believe what I heard.
Yeah,
if that
well,
makes any sense.
man, everyone gets their news from YouTube right now at this point. So I got the update on YouTube. I think it was the same thing when Ricky Gervais was hosting, and
that was good.
He did the
That
did the slap down on Hollywood and Hollywood's high morality, issue, because Hollywood tends to try to sit on a high throne of like judgment and
It was awkward watching that.
critiquing people. You know,
They were all like laughing, but they were also like,
awkward. Yeah.
ha ha ha, why is he saying this to us?
With their publicist there, you know?
He's still talking about us.
Yeah, he's just like, oh, it's funny that you guys, are so important, but all the people that cover you in the press, they don't speak English. He's like, they're all foreign press people. So you get a bunch of foreigners to come over here to investigate and give you guys glory shout outs about how great you are.
That's true.
You know, how like sinister is that, you know?
It was crazy.
Yeah.
But I liked watching it. I liked watching that slap.
Yes.
I'm not saying that he deserved the slap, by the way.
Yeah.
I just.
Oh, you talking about the slap heard around the world? Or
Yeah.
Gervais?
Oh, no. Gervais did not get slapped.
Yeah, but you talking about Chris Rock?
Yeah, Chris Rock.
That was a big fail on Will Smith's end, and
yeah.
Will Smith has been living, I would say, a 20 plus, 30 plus year lie of trying to maintain his image in a certain way. I mean, even when he joined social media, I don't know if you noticed, but as soon as he signed up to YouTube back in, I think, 2018, all of his videos are being like carefully crafted, curated, him skydiving out of a plane.
For me, the daily confrontation with fear has become a real practice for me since about three years ago. I went skydiving in Dubai, right? And skydiving is a really interesting confront with fear, right? So I gotta stand up. I'm sorry, I gotta stand up. All right. So So all your friends, what happens? You go out, how you, oh, sorry, I dropped my thing. So what happens is you go, yeah, we'll go skydiving tomorrow, yeah, and you go, yeah, and everybody goes, yeah. Right?
And
he's
and everything's being high edited, and people were just looking at this like, we know this is some high production value. You're being a YouTuber now, but it's like you're trying to make your life look perfect.
You know, Esther Perel is coming to the table. She's going to be at the red table. Would you say she has been instrumental in you and I redefining our relationship?
I would say don't just start filming me without asking me.
Oh my goodness.
If you could film me.
Esther, come help us again, please. I'm still dealing with foolishness.
Don't. No, because she don't just.
Would you say that she helped us heal the hurts that we caused between one another?
My social media presence is my bread and butter, okay? So you can't just use me for social media and not, don't just start rolling. I'm standing in my house. Don't just start rolling.
Please watch Esther at the red table because she's helped us a lot. Can't you tell?
And he'd be like, I didn't skydive before, but when I finally did it, and I'm just like, can't you just say you skydived?
He turns everything into a metaphorical example of something deep and meaningful.
Fear is not real.
I'm still dealing with foolishness.
The only place that fear can exist is in our thoughts of the future. It is a product of our imagination, causing us to fear things that do not at present and may not ever exist.
Everything he does is something deep and meaningful.
You can't take a walk down the road without being like, this walk that I took, it was amazing.
The spirit guide told me when the moon and the sun was rising. And he does have some validity to some of the things he says. Some of these things that he gives are like, it's good mantras, good quotes, good things to live by. But the thing is when you're living your life in a very curated way, you're not being genuine yourself.
Yeah.
So it kind of
defeats the whole thing.
It defeats the whole purpose. And so this is the first time the whole globe saw him crack in real time.
Yeah.
Because he presents himself as the cookie cutter, perfect American American boy, African American boy. He's just this. I smile all the time, and
he's always happy.
I will joke and crack jokes with you, and I won't say nigga. I will just be perfect. Sorry, guys. But he won't be this real show who he is. He just needs to be on performance mode 24/7.
I thought there's a legion of women who said, I'm glad for Will fighting for his woman.
Yeah, because they still want to believe that sham of a fucking marriage is real. They're both bisexual. They do weird things in their house. And young men have left their house fucking screaming to get away from them in their mentorship. Meek Mills. Bashir Gray. Listen to me. He needs my help. Like, are you fucking kidding me? I wanted to help him. He was so sick and he needed my help. And you just figured you was going to ride his dick until he got better, huh? How the fuck you going to play in a movie called Emancipation and you can't emancipate yourself?
Ooh.
I ain't supporting shit he fucking do. He's a bad representation for black men. He is literally the epitome of a ballless man. I'm sick and tired of people making our black men look weak. I'm sick and tired of that shit because I don't know no nigga that would put up with the shit that bitch done put him through.
Everything's PR.
100%. And
everyone who's doing that right now, their PR is cracking. Even The Rock. The Rock tries to make himself look perfect in every interview he's done. He's very bravacious. He's got a lot of bravado. But yeah, it was the first time the whole globe saw Will Smith crack in real time. And I'll never forget what this lady said. And she was like, what was the biggest disappointment of the year? She said, Will Smith. She was just like, I lost all the respect for him. I thought he was a masculine man. And when I saw him lose his emotional intelligence and his cool, his stoicism, he lost his cool. He literally lost his cool, got up stage and slapped a man. So, there's more to that story, obviously, if you look into their marriage, which that's a whole nother topic, that's a whole nother subject. They've got skeletons in their closet with Will and Jada that we won't quite touch on, but I ignore the media, whatever swings your way. Right. Did a nice little skit on Will Smith. That's in the link in the bio, or it'll pop up right here above you guys. So that was a slap around the world, and since then he's been on an apology tour, essentially.
Oh yeah, he tried to apologize. That was awkward.
That was super awkward. That apology. That's part of the skit. Enjoy that, guys. Yeah.
Yeah. For me, and to round that up, he used to be one of my favorites as a kid.
Yeah.
Seeing that slap and slapping Chris Rock, and you got to remember he's a comedian. That's his job. And hitting someone for doing their job is, to me, super immature, super selfish, and that's kind of what it was for me.
Yeah, there's no mystery behind that, though, to be honest. Like, when you really think about it, everyone saw it for what it was. He was laughing when Chris Rock cracked the joke.
Oh, 100%.
He was laughing until he looked at his wife.
Fuck Will Smith.
No, wait.
He can kiss my ass.
Wait.
He should have never slapped Chris. I'm not watching the movie.
Damn it.
It's not happening.
You don't understand. Do you understand why he slapped Chris? Did you see in that moment from probably what he was dealing with?
What was he dealing with?
Shit, I don't know.
What the fuck was he dealing with?
Something made him slap his brother, man.
No, something didn't make him snap anything. He laughed at that badass joke that Chris said like every fucking body else. And then Jada looked at him and it was like the Manchurian Candidate.
Not the Manchurian. God damn it.
That's what the fuck happened.
Yeah, it was all caught on camera. He went from laughing, looks at his wife, and then his mood changed all of a sudden.
Men, don't get cucked. Get cucked. Just don't get cucked. Don't be in a situation where you're emasculated and you've got a crazy lady or she's, wherever she's from, she's a Virgo or some crazy nut, have you running in your emotions. Men plus emotions equal jail, okay? It was by sheer luck that they didn't arrest Will Smith, because they actually tried to arrest him backstage.
Well, yeah, he luckily Chris Rock didn't press any charges.
Yeah, Chris said he didn't want to press any charges.
So they didn't arrest him because
that would have been a whole nother.
Well, technically speaking, you could. That was
and shouts to Chris Rock for maintaining his showmanship and his professionalism
the whole time.
Throughout the whole time, and he didn't break frame. Where he could have. He's a tiny guy, man. So that was just the most. That was whack. Seeing somebody my height, like 6'2", going up to a guy that's like 5'5", and you smack him. It's just like, come on, dude.
Yeah, I lost that year. Me and Will Smith. I was like, I'm sorry, my dude.
Yeah. So his apology tour is ongoing. He just released a movie called Emancipation, which completely bombed. It's another slavery movie. And it's Oscar bait. It's an Oscar bait movie, and a lot of these movies are not doing well at the moment.
Yeah.
There's a ton of ensemble films. Amsterdam was one of them.
Oh, yeah.
With Margot Robbie, and that was John David Washington, Denzel Washington's son, and they're trying very hard to make John David Washington into a leading guy, and he's a great actor, but I think it's just there's a charisma thing that is missing. I don't know if it's a height thing. But there's something missing where it's just he's a good supporting actor. It's sort of like The Rock. The Rock's a supporting actor. He wants to be a lead and everything, but he tends to only work in an ensemble. So that's our rundown on Will Smith.
Will Smith, yeah, for that year.
So Will Smith, we wish you good luck. You've cracked your frame.
We'll see what happens next year to you.
I don't know how you're going to recover, but don't try to do it with a teleprompter and your wife behind you with a gun and you're reading notes off the prompter and doing this apology thing. That was such a bad look. Just don't do that.
Don't know who green-lighted that for you.
Don't do that. I think you might need to go see the guru again or something. I don't know. So yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Next subject on
I'll say
it would be Amber Heard and Johnny Depp.
Okay.
And from one kook to another, the lady famous for pooing in her husband's bed, Amber Heard.
Seen you before, Slumore.
Hello there.
You'll see pictures of Mr. Depp's severed finger and learn about his emergency medical treatment for that injury.
Amber Heard, Johnny Depp.
AH. Oh God,
damn.
she's a horrendous.
Fuck, that year was also interesting. I this year for that was crazy. It was everywhere. Everyone was watching it. I personally did not keep up with it because everyone else was. So I got to have the tea because literally everyone, their dog and their sister was watching the case.
It was hard not to watch it or hear it. You go on Instagram, you go on YouTube, and there's clips everywhere. So many YouTube channels blew up doing that Amber Heard Johnny Depp trial, and we had started at that time. Dude, Bruin would be through the roof right now. We'll be the dudes of the year.
Well, people were trying to get any info they could on the whole situation.
But it was it was such a big case. It was sort of like our generation's O.J. Simpson and Nicole Simpson trial. So there hasn't been any trial to that level like in decades, and I don't know if there will be another trial that'll be so publicized, that'll be so big, you know.
Or maybe if there's some people creeping kids on an island, they might throw another case like
that. I don't think so. They had their opportunity, and they didn't want to air that, you know, on live TV.
Exactly.
Yeah. So unfortunately, that's a shot at the whole Epstein
thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. Or
a trial happening again. Giselle's trial was happening at the same time.
Ghislaine. Yeah, Ghislaine. So yeah.
Ghislaine.
Yeah. So thumbs down for that. But yeah, so Amber Heard, Johnny Depp, the whole thing behind that was like, it was an interesting take because people wanted to see who was telling the truth of the matter, and we saw it in real time.
It's really weird how the whole thing, it went from like nobody listening, men not listening to women at all, to just this total overcorrection that anything they fucking said means it happens, you know? They got these hashtags like, you know, believe women, right? It's a little open-ended, huh? Just straight across the fucking board? All of them? Every last fucking one of them? What about the psychos? What about the ones that key your car and light your shit on fire because you didn't fucking answer a text? What about them? Huh? How about you believe like 88% and that last 12% that's out of their fucking minds? You know, I think that's a fair percentage, wouldn't you? No? Are you too afraid to not believe? You know, and then people just like, did you see that story? Did you read the story? You can't make something like that up. I always want to be like, well, did you see Star Wars? You're part of the fucking problem. Get the fuck out, you know.
We got to see the evidence in real time. People got to draw conclusions in real time and see that, unfortunately for Amber Heard, her story didn't add up. And just Johnny Depp presented himself very genuine. Amber Heard was talking, kept looking at the jury the entire time, which made the jurors commented on that later after the trial, how uncomfortable it was making them feel. Because when someone's looking at you, it's sort of, they're staring at you for confirmation you're doing the right thing. So if I talk to you and I keep looking at you, it's me trying to get confirmation. You agree? You agree? Or you're trying to force someone to like, you agree? Right? I look pretty, don't I? You know, if your boyfriend and girlfriend and you ask, you know, your partner, hey, I look pretty, don't I? You know, you're forcing him to say yes to some degree. Aren't you happy to see me? You know, so
yes.
That's female terrorism on men. We love you, but it's terrorism because you're forcing us to give you a fraudulent, answer or not a genuine answer, you know. And we should be able to tell you if you got a cliffhanger in your nose or your hair's a little, you know, whatever the case may be, you know. But anyhow, don't bully men into committing into a relationship. Aren't you happy to see me? And don't you want to be in a couple? You know, these type of things that, you know, the ladies can do. You know what I'm talking about. But yeah, Amber Heard's story didn't
it didn't match up. For me, I noticed straight away before it went to trial, I read up on some of the cases and I pointed out how it didn't match up. But when she lost, I think he lost the case in the UK. Yeah. I was like, oh, that's odd, because from everything that I was reading about, I was like, she shouldn't win this case. None of her stories make sense.
Yeah, he didn't lose a case in the UK against her. He lost a case in the UK against the tabloid, The Sun.
Oh, the tabloids.
And that was regarding sort of like free speech and the narrative that they wanted to use. And then the actual writer of that article in The Sun that called Johnny Depp a wife beater, the writer is from New Zealand. He's a Kiwi writer that moved over to the UK and started working for The Sun, which is like a tabloid. It's not really a highly respectable like publication per se, which even the highly respected publications now are skeptical. Hence people coming to YouTube for information. But yeah, but yeah, to say the least, her story didn't add up. Unfortunately for her, and she lost the case. And since she's lost the case, prior to her losing the case, she said, "Oh, I'm just a mother, and I just want to move on with my life." And she used her baby as a prop during the trial. And then the moment the trial was over, no one heard anything about her baby.
For this woman to come out and say it's a setback for women, I think she needs to understand one thing, and that is that what she did was harmful to real victims of domestic violence. And I'm sorry for saying it again. I started the first domestic violence unit in the nation. I have dealt with battered women for 30 years. As soon as she started, it was clear she was not the victim. She was the abuser. And Johnny Depp had lawyers who could take her on. This Camila Vasquez was right on target with her. The tape recordings where she said, "Johnny, you going to be a baby? Are you going to tell everybody I didn't hit you hard enough?" It was difficult for this man to make a decision to put his whole life on the table, but he had nothing to lose. And when they said to him, "What have you lost as a result of what she did?" he said, "Nothing short of everything." And so she tried to promote herself as being part of the Me Too movement, that here I am, a woman who's being abused. And she said, you know, the defense was, we didn't know if it was about Johnny Depp. Are you kidding? 2 years earlier, she tried to get a temporary restraining order against him, and it was in all the newspapers. But she was impossible to believe. And I would tell a jury as a judge, if you find that one witness has testified falsely with respect to one fact, you are free to disregard their entire testimony. This woman lied over and over again, and I feel free to say that on television. She lied. She was a liar. She was the abuser, and he was the victim. And let me just say one more thing. For him to take on this burden, which is not only proof that he was defamed, that she was talking about him, but that she was malicious. That jury had to really see right through her to say she was malicious. And they found for him $10 million compensatory, $5 million punitive damages. That's to punish you, Amber Heard.
Yeah.
For taking on this guy's life and destroying his life so you could be part of the Me Too movement. Don't give me this stuff, you know, it's a setback for women. You do not represent women. You represent the worst of women who try to falsely blame men. And that's the end of it.
There you go. You know what?
And so she kind of went on this whole, like, I'm going to appeal the case.
Oh, yeah.
And everyone was like, you said you wanted to move on with your life, and now you can't keep away from talking about the case or using a third-party girlfriend to speak for you, to funnel out your information. So people have just been hearing about Amber Heard over and over again post-case, and people are just like, dude, could you just go away?
It's kind of just over.
Go away. Just crawl away in a hole. And unfortunately, this goes back down to accountability, which we've also talked about on Dudes Growing. Unfortunately, for a lot of ladies, accountability is a very hard thing to find. But it happens with some men as well, which would be a queer man in this example I'm about to use with Jussie Smollett.
And I'm not suicidal. If I did this, then it means that I stuck my fist in the fears of black Americans in this country for over 400 years and the fears of the LGBTQ community. Your Honor, I respect you and I respect the jury, but I did not do this. And I am not suicidal. And if anything happens to me when I go in there, I did not do it to myself. And you must all know that. I respect you, Your Honor. I respect your decision. Jail time. I am not suicidal.
Okay. Mr. Uche, let me inquire, are there any post-sentencing motions you care to present? Court is adjourned.
Hello, I'm Mark Brown. Get more great ABC7 content by clicking the subscribe button for our YouTube channel and download the ABC7 Los Angeles streaming app on Fire TV, Android TV, Apple TV, and Roku to watch on your TV.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so essentially, Amber Heard's saying now, as a present, she's saying to people that, like, oh, because I got found guilty, this is going to have a chilling effect on women who actually face domestic violence. If you felt it was going to have a chilling effect on women that was facing domestic violence, you wouldn't have lied about your case to begin with and tried to piggyback off the fact that there was a Me Too going on, and you felt this would bolster your career, you being an opportunistic social climber. And she's been a social climber, that she just climbed her way up through Hollywood, going through multiple men. Information got released that she got to LA and she worked in Hollywood. Essentially, she was a madam, essentially working in the underground circuit for entertainment, and she was dancing for other entertainers, and she was in some dominatrix thing, which got her involved as an asset to LGBTQ, and also to the Church of Kabbalah, which that is also tied to Cara Delevingne. So then that sort of turned into this whole blonde-haired, blue-eyed, druggy circle of people that are into stripping and dominatrix and occult-like stuff, which kind of exposed her relationship with James Franco. Yeah, and James Franco had this obsession with kink.com, which is an adult film website, which also is about a lot of BDSM and that sort of behavior.
But for me, I think with my life, I think it's the most precious thing I can have is privacy, and so I don't have any reason or desire to want to
Put it out there.
Nothing, but I understand a lot of people do and why they would. You know, a lot of people find ways to do it, you know, for good and to control the representations of themselves, which I think actors typically or celebrities typically have not had control over for a long time.
James Franco just interviewed James Franco about James Franco.
I'm like, if you don't get this right now, I swear to Lucifer.
She's the most scary thing.
More specifically, the gay James interviewed the straight James in the March issue of 429 magazine and touched on the actor's elusive public persona. Straight James gets right to the point at the beginning by asking, "Are you bleeping gay or what?" I like to think that I'm gay in my art and straight in my life, although I'm also gay in my life up to the point of intercourse, and then you could say I'm straight. So I guess it depends on how you define gay, Gay James replied.
It's horrible stuff that's going on. It's depressing and it's sad because obviously some of these people are very talented, and it's depressing that if they're predators, of course they have to go down, but I mean, it's fucking sad.
Movies. The bad stuff can happen on a movie as well. There's some people that go into this business because they got off in having power. And the most times they feel the most powerful, which is why they went into the business, is when they're making, you know, and I mean hitting on, and don't necessarily, I mean completely sexual, on somebody that's underneath them. I mean, there are predators absolutely everywhere. There's stuff that happens on a set that can be really inappropriate. And there can be that type of predatory aspect on a set because you think, well, we're in the circus and we're on the road. So therefore, do the rules really apply? They don't really apply. There's the other aspect of it is that come try to get this job from me. You want me to give you a job? Come on, come prove to me that you want this job. That's a sin, and that's against the law, and that is a degree of harassment and predatory behavior that goes against an assumed code of ethics.
You will agree with that, James?
Yeah, if it changed it, yeah, of course. Of course. Any situation where, you know, one group of people is, you know...
Once people saw that correlation with her being a madam and then her having a relation to James Franco, people started looking at James like, I think this is a bad look for James because he had already had those Me Too cases that came up. The last thing that needed to happen was his name being brought up in this Amber Heard Johnny Depp trial.
Okay, yeah.
And even trickled down to Elon Musk, you know, but you know, Elon, he's a G, and I'm glad he was able to get away from that crazy lady. Unfortunately, there was a case that they were fighting over embryos, so she's got a kid. It might be Elon's kid, but I think...
Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? But if he does have one with her through surrogate, I hope he does really protect that child, because she's a nutbag, just to say the least. So yeah, so they just settled their court case. That's what happened.
Oh, with Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
That's
so,
good. Yeah.
So that situation settled, and Amber since then has been saying she's been vindicated of her abuse, that they've settled the case of domestic violence, And it's like, no, they didn't settle the case of domestic violence. They settled the appeal, whatever. But you were still found guilty of lying to the court. Lady. You know, you lost your case. So let's hope that she humbles herself
in this new year.
And which I don't think is going to happen because she's already running on PR and still trying to reframe the
Amber Heard just settled her defamation case against Johnny Depp. According to IG, Amber framed the settlement as a last resort, calling it an opportunity to emancipate herself for something she attempted to leave over 6 years ago.
What? This bitch, please.
Narrative. She's trying to win the public relations war. She's trying to make sure, she's trying to save her career by her speaking out. To all the fucking companies that gave her support, all these women groups that petitioned this letter, they wrote a letter right before they did the appeal. There's a bunch of women's rights organizations that were speaking on her behalf. Shame on you, because domestic violence doesn't have a gender.
Yeah.
Men and women can both suffer from domestic violence. Humans disadvantage other humans, period.
Yeah.
Okay? So I'm not pro men's rights. I'm not pro women's rights. Men often don't have any refuge. So I tend to speak a lot about men's issues, but I'm pro human rights. Human rights includes men, women, and children, you know? And men shouldn't be only valued when they're able to provide something to society. They're humans as well, you know? So yeah, so shouts to Johnny Depp, good win. Hope to see you back as Jack Sparrow.
Jack Sparrow.
Yeah,
in the Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah, he's already shooting another film in France.
Deal?
Yeah, in France right now. He's shooting another film at the moment. They said they're trying to get him back on Pirates of the Caribbean. So we'll see how that goes.
Action! You can keep Barbosa, the belligerent homunculus, and his sticky wooden friend.
I hope it goes well. I like my Mr. Jack Sparrow.
Yeah.
And I'm happy he won that case.
Yeah, exactly. So next up, we've got the war in Ukraine.
All the single ladies, all the single ladies, all the single ladies, all the single ladies, all the single ladies. Now put your hands up.
The message.
Up in the club, you just broke up. I'm doing my own little thing. You decided to dip, and now you want a trip, 'cause another brother noticed me.
Now with the Russians marching in, it's changed the calculus entirely. Tens of thousands of people have tried to flee the city. There will be many more. People are hiding out in bomb shelters. But this isn't a place, with all due respect, you know, like Iraq or Afghanistan, that has seen conflict raging for decades. You know, this is a relatively civilized, relatively European, I have to choose those words carefully too, city where you wouldn't expect that or hope that it's going to happen. So it's partly human nature, but they are not in denial.
شو اسمك عمو؟ انت وين ابوك؟ وين؟ وين مات؟ شنو متريقة متغدية متعشية؟ احكي
African and Indian students stuck in Ukraine are accusing officials of discriminating against them and pushing them back from getting to the border.
This video posted to Twitter reads, "Watch how they are threatening to shoot us," saying they're after Ukraine-Poland border. The police and army are refusing to let Africans cross. They only allow Ukrainians.
Congo native saying he was discriminated against while trying to board a train out of Ukraine.
They even told us, like, we are going to give you guns and you're going to fight for Ukraine. I said, hi. We're gonna fight for Ukraine.
We continue the digital transformation of our state.
We need to use next generation technologies. We need to make it feel like he's more in the room.
Добрий вечір всім. Зазвичай в такі дні ми говорили, прийшла весна.
But why is Zelensky standing in front of a green screen and pretending he's still in Kiev? There's a strong key light that's slightly above and to the right of Zelensky. There's a softbox that's in front of him about 45 degrees to the right. And there's also a fill light coming in from his left. In other words, that's your classic 3-point cinematic lighting.
Pro-Russia social media accounts are using false claims about so-called crisis actors to try to get people to doubt the credibility of important, accurate media reporting on what's going on in Ukraine. Let's look at 2 examples.
Здрасте.
Василий Петрович Голобородько?
Да.
Доброе утро, господин президент.
Привет, как дела? Серьезный день, ребята. Как настроение? Класс?
Ясно. Если не твой, не мой, значит, это человек Рустема Ашотовича.
Господа, клянусь, я не имею к Голобородько никакого...
Много всего нового научиться. Посмотреть, как дышить собака.
В президенти України. Давайте зробимо це разом. З Новим роком.
Для того, щоб Україна була об'єднана, щоб Україна була захищена, щоб безпека України не ставилася під питання. Прийшли до висновку, що цілісність України і єдність...
If you're a man of principles,
yes.
Why are you working for a man who the anti-corruption authorities say has stolen all this money from the people of this country?
My name is Marina Abramovic. I was born in Yugoslavia, a country which thrived on the cultures from the West and Russia from the East. Last years, I work in Ukraine, and I get to know the people there. They're proud, they're strong, and they're dignified. I have a full solidarity with them in this impossible day. Attack to Ukraine is attack to all of us, is attack to humanity, and have to be stopped.
Yes, on another case, the war in Ukraine.
Wild situations going on right now. But do you know much about it, or I tend to be quite informed on global affairs and stuff. I've got family over in Russia, so not to say that I'm biased, but I do. Yeah.
I'm not biased. I just kind of like to listen to everything. So when it was going on, for me, how I felt, it was quite simple, and it sounds really mean, but I felt like it was any other case. I felt like it was, whether it was Afghanistan or when the thing was happening in France or when Black Lives Matter was happening, this was just a new thing for people to get behind and be like, yeah, it's so bad.
Follow the narrative, change your profile photo. Get a Ukraine flag.
And people did. People who had Ukraine flags, and I'm just kind of sick of that. I'm sick of seeing French flags in your profile. And
it's the new cause.
You know, and we're trying to protect them, and knowing you the full story of why. Why there was a war that started with Russians and the Ukrainians. I used to say to my friends, countries don't just wake up and suddenly decide I want to war with that country. They don't do that. No one does it. It's not good for your country economically or for your people. It's dumb.
Yeah, it's a last line of defense. It's not something.
That's the last thing they do.
Yeah,
is what
when you back somebody against the wall, they're gonna bark. Right. You know.
And I say to people the easiest way to dumb this down for anyone, I used to say to them was, if you think about the Americans, they will never ever let anyone put any military aid, anything on their border, whether it's Mexico or whether it's on Canada. In fact, if anyone knows their history, Russia did try to send missiles to Cuba. That's not a bordering nation, but it is close. And they literally said they were going to go to war. Russia turned those ships back. Now Russia does the same thing, and they're evil. They're not evil.
Yeah, that was called the Cuban Missile Crisis.
Yeah. So that's kind of it. Like for me, that's what it was in a nutshell.
So that's America protecting their geopolitical sovereignty And so it's the same situation with the NATO expansion that has been ongoing since 1989. It's in 1989 they made an agreement at the fall of the Soviet Union and the end of the Cold War. When the Berlin Wall fell, the U.S. and NATO made an agreement with Russia that they wouldn't expand NATO.
The reunification of Germany. Mikhail Gorbachev, the Soviet leader, agrees. But he has one condition. The NATO must not expand eastward. It must not enter Russia's security sphere. The US officials agreed, but the terms were never written down. You could argue this was a mistake. Until a promise is codified, it means nothing really. Having said that, a betrayal is a betrayal, written agreement or not.
Now we have to finish what America started 4 years ago, welcoming Hungary, Poland, and the Czech Republic into our alliance. If you look around at who's in the room today, you can see that they are more than willing to be a good partner.
Let me ask you about Russia, the war in Ukraine. You know, there are a lot of people who argue that it's all your fault, that the reason that Russia has invaded Ukraine is that the United States, by expanding NATO, provoked that. The largest or most significant expansion of NATO took place on your watch. What do you say to them?
You're wrong. I'm sorry, I just disagree. I think we did the right thing at the right time. And if we hadn't have done it, this crisis might have occurred even sooner.
I want you to listen to me. I'm going to say this again. I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky. I never told anybody to lie, not a single time, never. These allegations are false.
Any comments on the alleged allegation of your connection with Jeffrey Epstein? No.
Ни одного дюйма на восток, сказали нам в 90-е годы. Ну и чего? Надули. Просто нагло обманули. 5 волн расширения НАТО. И теперь уже, пожалуйста, в Румынии, сейчас в Польше появляются соответствующие системы. Не мы кому-то угрожаем. Мы, что ли, пришли туда, к границам США? Или к границам Великобритании, или куда? К нам пришли. И теперь еще говорят, нет, теперь и Украина будет в НАТО. Значит, и там будут системы. Или, бог с ним, не в НАТО, а на двусторонней основе будут. Базы и ударные системы вооружений. Ну вот о чем идет речь. А вы требуете от меня каких-то гарантий. Вы должны нам дать гарантии. Вы. И немедленно. Сейчас.
That they refused to do that. And unfortunately, Bill Clinton in office around 1997 broke that agreement as far as with NATO expansion, and he started re-expanding on NATO. NATO stands for North Atlantic Treaty. I think it's North Atlantic Treaty, North Atlantic Alliance Treaty, something to that effect. This is going to force you to go Google. But nevertheless, it's all about North Atlantic. But the premise behind NATO in general is that they were anti-Russian. They were actually formed to stop the spread of what they deemed communism. And because of NATO being established, they agreed to disband at the end of the Cold War with Russia. And Russia actually opened arms to America and said, hey, how can we work together? And essentially, George Bush Sr. and other people insulted Russia, essentially kind of belittling them that they lost the war. Russia went into very hard economic times at the end of the Cold War because their economy dropped. They had massive sanctions imposed on them. And it's very hard for people to recover and recoup out of that. But Russia, they're innovative, and they found a way to sustain themselves. But nevertheless, expansion of NATO continued from 97 up until now, down to the point where NATO kept going to Ukraine, and NATO was going to former USSR territories. And Russia said, look, you guys are doing too much, you're going too far. And Russia had been saying that for years. that, hey, you guys are going too far. You're getting too close to our border. It's, you guys are backing us in a corner, and we know you guys were set up to be anti-Russian to begin with. It had nothing to do necessarily with the Nazi Germany post-World War II. You were formed to be anti-Russian. You were worried about us. And you guys are been constantly grabbing up old territory that were affiliated, and they were our territories. And now you're getting too close to our border. So geopolitically, I supported Russia during the war, and I still support Russia till this day. This is a huge propaganda war at the moment. They've got Zelensky going into Congress. They got Zelensky in Vanity Fair magazine. They got Zelensky. What kind of dude in the middle of a war has time to go do a Vanity Fair photo shoot? Or do public relations to the point of
meeting celebrities.
There's been tons of videos of freaking Sean Penn going over there shaking his hand, being like, "You're a real trooper, a real hero."
The guy from Zoolander, I can't remember his name.
Ben Stiller going over there.
I'm sorry, but like if you're in a war,
and the other thing that bugs me is Zelensky used to be an actor. Zelensky was an actor, and people don't speak about how Zelensky got into office, what they did to undermine the man that was in office prior, and they got Zelensky out. And prior to Zelensky getting in office, he played this television role about him being the prime minister of Ukraine.
Crack up.
So he was already actor prepared up. So everything he does right now is acting. When he's giving a speech on Congress, it's performative. He puts on this extra Ukrainian accent that he doesn't use when he's talking anywhere else. So, but the whole fact of the matter is that this man is literally destroying his country, and he needs to accept the fact that he's in a bad position geopolitically. But unfortunately, I think he's a puppet for the U.S.
Yeah.
That's why he's not backing out of this war. He's trying to serve a bigger cause for the U.S. government, potentially for the World Economic Forum, and some things that they have in mind for the planet.
When someone gives you $40 billion, you can't really do much.
Yeah, I mean, we've given him way more money than that, and half that money has gone missing because there's so much mafia in there. There's documentaries on Ukraine about how much neo-Nazis there are in Ukraine.
Yeah.
So a big part of the military arm in there, they were arming neo-Nazi groups that, and there was people in America being like, yay, like, let's support Ukraine. And I'm like, their rebel groups are neo-Nazis. There's massive neo-Nazi
factions,
factions that's all throughout, Ukraine. So you're giving your money to mafia people, and half of that money's gone missing. It hasn't benefited them in the war. They're still losing the war. So I think, it's in their best interest, but they're not going to do it. What Zelensky is doing, he's putting his country in debt for decades.
Yeah.
For decades. The U.S. is giving them that money, but it's a loan.
Yeah.
People don't understand that.
Well, people think everything's free.
They think it's free. Like, no, the U.S. is willing to contribute the arms, the weapons, and any kind of other financial donations because it's a loan. He's going to get taxed in arrears for all of that. He's going to owe all of that back. So his country is never going to come out of debt, and they're just going to be a puppet for the U.S. and whatever geopolitical agenda the U.S. wants to have in mind.
Yeah. Well, I was saying, my mum used to say, people don't just give you money for free, especially people who aren't your friends.
Yeah.
The American government is not buddies with the Ukrainian.
Yeah.
They're not best friends. They're not brothers. They're not nothing.
Yeah.
$40 billion is just not, it's a lot of money. And like he said, there's more. That's just not money countries give away for fun.
Yeah.
They don't just go, oh, here's money that we probably need for our own people, but we're just going to give it to you for fun.
And if you want more information on that, I would say check out a YouTube channel called Redacted. The Redacted is great for information on political affairs that are going on that's unbiased. They're not supporting any left-wing, right-wing, chicken wing,
up
and down Americanese language. They're not speaking in those terms. They're just speaking about what's good and what's bad and what's ethical. Yeah. And they'll tell you the truth. So you don't have to worry about hearing some Fox News, CNN terminology. You actually get some genuine good news.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah.
And on news, we've got who's next?
Who's next on the matter? Okay, so after the Ukraine war, it would have to probably be Harry Styles and Olivia Wilde.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit of a power play.
You're also deeply loving and kind and warm and
down with the patriarchy.
That's what I
I want!
We are up against a seriously massive force of opposition that has for centuries tried to rein us in, and when one of us steps back, we all step back. So no matter how much the patriarchy relies on us to cut each other down in order to weaken our collective power, we have to resist the urge to play by their self-serving rules and remind the world, and specifically our daughters, that we aren't so easily manipulated.
Oh, shut the fuck up.
Harry Styles, everybody, Harry Styles.
And there was a whole scandal behind that film. It was a film that he was in called, I think, Don't Worry Baby.
Yeah.
Whatever. And yeah.
I never watched it. I didn't even know.
No, of course. I haven't watched it either. And the buzz behind that film was that it got leaked that Olivia Wilde was cheating on her husband while she was shooting on that film and was sleeping with Harry Styles on the set of that film. And it goes back to some of our conversations about men and women and dating, about how, her excuse behind it was she wasn't feeling good anymore. She wasn't feeling loved. Or
by her husband.
By her husband.
Oh.
And he was doing everything perfect. But it goes back to how men are idealistic, women are opportunistic. And they will leave you at the drop of a dime if they stop feeling good. You know? So they're just constantly running on emotions. And so she went behind his back and had this thing with Harry Styles, whatever. And it was a whole controversy behind that. And she tried to slam Shia LaBeouf about Shia LaBeouf's original involvement in the film, because he was supposed to be the lead in the film.
Oh, yeah.
And he backed out because he said the shoot wasn't organized and it wasn't together. And she said, oh, no, we got rid of him because he was being inappropriate with our co-actress. And then he leaked a phone call of Olivia Wilde begging for him to come back to the film.
Shia. I just went riding my horse, very sweaty, but I wanted to reach out because I feel like I'm not ready to give up on this yet, and I too am heartbroken, and I want to figure this out. And you know, I think this might be a bit of a wake-up call for Miss Flo, and I want to know if you're open to giving this a shot with me, with us. If she really commits, if she really puts her mind and heart into it at this point, and if you guys can make peace, and I respect your point of view, I respect hers, but if you guys can do it, what do you think? Is there hope? Is there hope? Will you let me know? Okay, bye.
You know, so she told a story. She did an Amber Heard. She told a story that, no, we got rid of him because he was being inappropriate. He made my actress feel uncomfortable. And then he leaks a phone call of going, look, I know you decided to leave the film, but we really, really would like to have you, and we'd like to have you on the project. So, and it just shows the relational aggression women tend to do. It's being mentally aggressive with men, and they try to ruin your social relationships. So she purposely tried to ruin his career opportunities because he left that production, and she tried to say he was being inappropriate. That's the same with Johnny Depp. Amber Heard wanted to play victim as of this year, but she spent 6 years bashing this guy and destroying his career while her career was going up. Now she's the ultimate villain, well, villain definitely, but victim. And she's trying to portray that she's being disadvantaged or whatever. So, yeah. And back quickly to Amber Heard. Amber Heard was essentially trying to say it's going to have a chilling effect on women that face domestic violence. So she's trying to say, could you guys please overturn the case judgment, you know, so that, you know, it doesn't make women survivors of DV look bad. Essentially what she's saying is it's like saying Jussie Smollett. It's like I'm going to the court and going, hey guys, could you guys reverse my decision because it's going to look bad for race-related attacks. Can you guys find me not guilty for my lies? That's a load of bullshit. Like, sorry, if you're wrong, you're wrong. So yeah, back to Olivia Wilde and Harry Styles. It just made her look really bad for her to go out there, and her husband served her some divorce papers.
Oh, nice.
You know, while she was on a press tour.
Nice.
Which is a good slap in the face, because ladies do that to men all the time.
Not just the material, tangible things like a beautiful house and perfect weather and gorgeous cars. This is for me, right now. Very mysterious. I'm gonna open it now because it feels like it's timely. Is it a script? Oh, okay. Got it. Thank you.
You know, where they set men up and they throw them off guard and hit them with some divorce papers. you know. But it's embarrassing when you know, your partner does that, your spouse goes out and cheats on you, even more so, unfortunately, when it's a lady, because it just doesn't reflect on you well. And then she said something else, like her movie, the villain in the movie, she said was based off male incel Jordan Peterson.
So about a month ago, Olivia Wilde made comments referring to Jordan Peterson as being an incel god. An incel is basically a young man who spends most of his time online because he cannot make himself sexually attractive to women. This is what Dr. Jordan Peterson had to say in response.
I was talking to a friend, what would you call it, an associate, someone who has knowledge of Olivia Wilde, who had recently made comments about me being king of the incels. And it's probably worth pointing out that she married a multimillionaire prince. And so, right, so she's the absolute epitome of female hypergamy, that hypergamy that makes females very judgmental in their choice, as they should be. But for her to have nothing but contempt for men who are struggling forward to try to make themselves attractive to women is a sign of a kind of deep narcissism that, on the female side, I would say, that deeply affects our culture.
The film director Olivia Wilde has a new movie out, which she says is based on you, this insane man, this pseudo-intellectual hero to the incel community.
Okay, so you're a young man, and all the women are rejecting you. Who's got the problem? It's not all the women. That's a bad road to go down. If all the women are rejecting you, it's you.
Incel being these weirdo loner men who are despicable in many ways. Is that you? Are you the intellectual hero to these people?
Sure, why not? People have been after me for a long time because I've been speaking to disaffected young men. Now, what a terrible thing to do that is. I thought the marginalized were supposed to have a voice. It's very difficult to understand how demoralized people are. And certainly many young men are in that category. And you get these casual insults, these incels. What does it mean? It's like, well, these men, they don't know how to make themselves attractive to women who are very picky, and good for them. Women, like, be picky.
Be a man that a woman respects. And on average, you have to be intelligent. Would you agree? You have to be intelligent.
Of course.
You have to be wise.
To be
right?
You have to
be smart. You have to be brave. You have to be capable. You have to be competent. You have to have done amazing things, capable of doing amazing things. You have to be motivated. You have to be ambitious. You have to do lots of things. All a woman has to do is be loyal. What's actually harder?
No.
What's actually? No, I'm asking a question.
I think
what's actually harder? What's actually harder to pull off? Sticking by your man and saying, I won't fuck another dude, or going out into the world with no inherent value. Because this is what you don't understand as women. Women have an inherent value, right? You're beautiful. Slim, you're beautiful. Men want to, no, you are. Men want to talk to you no matter what. If you're a man and you don't get your shit together, no woman gives a fuck about you.
Facts.
You need to get out there. You need to get money. You need to be smart. You need to be strong. You need to be intelligent. You need to be funny. As a man, you have to go out there and get all this value.
Oh, weird.
She called Jordan Peterson the king of the incels.
She just sounds like an angry old lady.
Misandrist. She sounds like an angry misandrist lady.
Jeez.
And a lot of these ladies are going out and saying they're feminists. But the feminist is crossing over to misandry. So a lot of these ladies are actually misandrists. They're not feminists. And I don't care. I don't like when people being an ist. I don't like feminists. I don't like racist. I don't like a lot of ist. Just care about human rights. Care about humans in general, not just your gender, okay? And I can't think of any rights that women don't have. You have all the rights in family court. You have all the rights when someone phones the police. Someone will take your side initially because you're a lady. And they'll assume, you're the vulnerable person in the situation.
And and a lot of first world
whether
countries.
you're mentally attacking this guy that's causing him to punch a wall or whatever's going on, or him to get drunk or scream, police don't have time to factor that in because it's not ever assessed, it's not highlighted. But there's so many advantages you guys have. You guys have advantages in workforce and careers. You guys get hired, and because of just like diversity and equity issues, and you were already getting hired, you get advantages from nightclubs, you get advantages in different ways. We get advantages in height and physicality, but we can't go to a nightclub for free. We can't go on a yacht for free. There's no ladies looking to take me and Benda on a yacht. Maybe they are.
It'd be nice.
Maybe they are.
It'd be nice.
Maybe
I don't know.
I might retract that statement. But if you're out there, we're yacht ready, okay? We'll bring the beef and you bring the boat lady. But, No, I don't know of any ladies with boats.
I don't know anyone
boats.
with a
With
yacht.
boats,
No.
yeah.
Nope.
There's a man that generally had to work for that. That's not because he was a man. He got a yacht for free.
I would like
He
that.
works 60, 80 hours a week, probably 80 hours a week to attain some sort of wealth with that. So yeah, shame on Olivia Wilde for trying to use Jordan Peterson as leverage to make her film seem better. And incel is a man that can't get a woman. Clearly, that's the definition of it. And clearly, Jordan Peterson, as popular as he is, he can quietly go to on his press tour around a book or anything else, get laid, whatever, and keep it low key. Pay off a escort or whoever.
He's got a wife.
Yeah, and yeah, he's married, which
Right, so, like,
which
he
I
doesn't-
didn't know.
Yeah,
didn't
his partner came with him to one of his tours, so
Yeah,
he doesn't need to get a
So
lady.
the man can't be an incel, in that self, and to call him the king of the incels because he's asking men to better themselves, and do better, and be more disciplined, and stay being the strong men that we're supposed to be because we're protectors. If you ever get, no offense, if you ever get confused about your role on Earth or your gender, go into a country where there's war happening. You will find out when these bombs are falling what your gender identity is very fucking fast. The woman will go and they will go protect the kids, and you will get looked at if you're a dude to go out and fight on the fucking field. You know what's going on in Ukraine at the moment? All the men have to stay and fight. All the men in Ukraine have to stay and fight. All the women are taking flights to Dubai.
Nice.
Dubai is full of Ukrainian women at the moment because they can leave. The men have to stay and fight. That has been since the beginning of time how civilization has been run. There's no feminists out there fighting wars on the front ground. Hell, a lot of women can't even work together half the fucking time. Women don't like other women. They're relationally aggressive and mentally aggressive on them, gossip spreading. So it's like you somewhat have a sisterhood to a certain degree, but you don't like taking orders from other women. You have a sisterhood that you have a commonality. You care about social matters. So you all care about social, he, she, they. You care about social matters. But when it comes to actually being led by someone, you guys don't know how to be led by anyone. That's how they did that on these reality TV shows with celebrity Treasure Island or Celebrity.
I don't watch that stuff, but I've seen it.
Yeah, but they've had a few of them where they split the genders down the middle. They put all the women on one island and the men on one island. And the men, they've got a whole irrigation system going on by the end of week one. At the end of week one, the women haven't built anything because none of them want to be led by the other one, so they're busy fighting on the island. So that's the reality of it, is that men naturally know how to take our place when it comes to building something because we have to build. Ladies like to experience stuff, but they don't like to build. They like to move in.
That's
nice yacht, nice house. They're not interested in building the yacht and building the house. That's what we do. So the men that take care of the infrastructure of cities, sewage guys, plumbers, electricians, whoever it may be, the guys that do the what they call essential workers. Remember that during COVID, guys? Essential workers. Those men, they matter, and they're worth something. But anyhow, Jordan Peterson, we salute you. You're not an incel. After Olivia Wilde, we have Elon Musk, and Elon Musk buying Twitter.
Yes.
That's been a big deal. He's been leaking Twitter files left and right.
Yeah, I think it was really great. It was for this year. It really showed people who like to listen.
That gave me hope.
Yes.
That gave me hope with Elon Musk getting Twitter and seeing how transparent he wanted people to be on what was actually going on that platform, because we heard from multiple prime ministers, New Zealand's prime minister, France's prime minister, that they were looking to weaponize Twitter to flag disinformation.
A month ago, there's an agreement between New Zealand and the US and Twitter because Twitter decided to really exchange some data about the algorithm. And I'd like to really praise them for this because this is an important step forward. And what we would like to do really is to decide that, and to acknowledge formally that if you don't know anything about the way algorithms are designed, you can't be sure that but algorithms won't really amplify the violent content. So we really want to have an algorithm partnership. We want to share information so as to be as efficient as possible with all the stakeholders. But we should also moderate the platforms, because for the time being, platforms don't moderate the content sufficiently.
Specifically on the algorithm research initiative, this is where we have an initial partnership with Microsoft, Twitter, New Zealand and the United States in OpenMind. And what we're working on here is infrastructure that allows us to create privacy and protection around proprietary issues, but then allows us to still have independent researchers access data that helps them understand the use of algorithms. And once we're able to build that platform, that could be used across multiple platforms. So it's not unique to just, for instance, Twitter or one singular platform. It should be infrastructure that we can use more widely.
Tiny country, but this week she took it to a new level with a speech to the UN about communication and what she describes as disinformation.
It will also be important in understanding more about mis and disinformation online, a challenge that we must as leaders address. Sadly, I think it's easy to dismiss this problem as one in the margins. I can certainly understand the desire to leave it to someone else. As leaders, we're rightly concerned that even the most light touch approaches to disinformation could be misinterpreted as being hostile to the values of free speech that we value so highly.
Now, this is indeed an interesting topic, but there are some big problems with what Jacinda is proposing. She glosses over how any restrictions on speech and communication would impact our ability to discuss issues freely. And who exactly is deciding what is true and what is false? Politicians? Do you trust politicians to make that call? Do you trust anyone to make that call? The sort of authoritarian-minded people who tend to desire that level of control over speech are the very last people you would want making the decisions. And we know this because of the inflammatory language Ardern uses to sell her idea to the world.
How do you ensure the human rights of others are upheld when they are subjected to hateful and dangerous rhetoric and ideology? The weapons may be different, but the goals of those who perpetuate them is often the same: to cause chaos and reduce the ability of others to defend themselves, to disband communities, to collapse the collective strength of countries who work together. But we have an opportunity here to ensure that these particular weapons of war do not
and censor people against hate speech and shouts to Mr. Dirty Sesh.
Oh yes.
Yeah, and he covered some topics.
He covered some topics.
Yeah.
If you've ever gone on his Instagram, he's covering topics on political views.
He's a New Zealand rapper who's now transitioned. He's onto YouTube, and a lot of the rappers in New Zealand, I shout out to them because a lot of them genuinely care about how Parliament, how the government's being run here, and they speak out for the people. Power to the people.
Yes. Yo. Yeah. But yeah, for me, on the Twitter, I found that it was really good just seeing him buy Twitter, and for a lot of people, I think it really showed that if anyone was concentrating or listening, that he was able to kind of, as the Twitter files were coming out, there was someone out there that is willing to show that they have morals, and that year was really good for me because you have the richest man in the world,
this year,
and he's just kind of like, well, this is how it should be. These are the things that are actually happening. And for young people or people wanting to go into business or whatever it is, being transparent with the people who look up to people or who are using the products that you're trying to sell. Yeah. And at the same time, it's funny how mainstream media is trying to like tarnish him and say he's evil and he's this, even though all he did was he literally just said, look at these people doing bad things. And I think what people should take from this year is he leaked things, honest things that
were taking place.
That were taking place. It's a legal thing on the computers. It's not like he wrote them up himself. But yet a lot of people try so hard to be like, nah, he's evil. He's evil.
So one day before President Trump took office, Dr. Fauci gave a speech warning all of us that Trump would have to deal with a cataclysmic pandemic. This was the day before Trump was sworn into office. He was warning us that the greatest crime in world history was about to happen. We should have been paying attention, but we weren't. Watch.
There is no question that there will be a challenge to the coming administration in the arena of infectious diseases, but also there will be a surprise outbreak.
Surprise!
Surprise!
There will be a surprise outbreak.
He's not like saying some data shows that this is possible. Some data concludes that we may see this. It seems highly likely. No, he says will.
Here he is answering, like, what does Elon Musk have on you on CBS? Watch.
I don't have a clue of what he's talking about.
Go to Fauci's Wikipedia, and you see, go to his wife, to the right, who he's married to. Okay, zoom in a little bit so we can see it. Christy Grady, right? Okay, so who is Christy Grady? Go to Christine Grady. Watch this. Zoom in. Christine Grady is an American in bioethics who serves as the head of the Department of Bioethics at the National Institute of Health Clinical Center. NIH.
Wow.
So her job is to hold him accountable.
What?
Did you just? Okay.
So basically the HR of your job
is your wife.
There's no conflict of interest there. No way. Are you kidding me?
Can you
That's not real. That can't be real.
No. That is real. That is real.
Our media is controlled by the elite to tell you what to think, when to think it, and how to think it. Don't believe me? Watch this.
Cautious while looking for health information in the Twitterverse. Be extra cautious while looking for health information in the Twitterverse.
Be extra cautious while looking for health information in the Twitterverse.
Be extra cautious while looking for health information in the Twitterverse.
Be extra cautious while looking for health information on the Twitterverse.
Be extra cautious while looking for health information on the Twitterverse. Be extra cautious while looking for health information in the Twitterverse. Be extra cautious while looking for health information on Twitter.
Be extra cautious while looking at health information on Twitter.
Be extra cautious while looking for health information on Twitter. Be extra cautious while looking for health information on Twitter.
Be extra cautious while you're looking for health information on Twitter.
Be extra cautious while looking for health information on Twitter.
Be extra cautious trusting any information from the media because these puppets are paid to lie to you. They read a script given to them by their masters, and it's all built to spin a narrative that controls you and takes more of your money. Stop trusting people who hate you.
Fox's Hillary Vaughn asked lawmakers about lying at Twitter. They didn't seem too concerned. Watch.
About the Twitter files that have come out, if it turns out that the FBI did mislead Twitter executives to think that the Hunter Biden laptop was Russian disinformation, do you think that those people should be held accountable?
So far, it's been much ado about nothing.
Do you think that's concerning when you see political parties and campaigns trying to censor information on a media platform?
Again, I don't know anything about what you're talking about.
Anything that undermines democracy, threatens the security of the American people, should be reviewed.
The Twitter files, and if you have any concerns that they were able to suppress the Hunter Biden laptop story just a few days before an election?
It's unbelievable.
We see this as an interesting or a coincidence, if I may, that he would so haphazardly, Twitter would so haphazardly push this distraction. That is a full of old news, if you think about it. And at the same time, Twitter is facing very real and very serious questions about the rising volume of anger, hate, and anti-Semitism on their platform, and how they're letting it happen. This isn't. We see this as an interesting, coincidence, and it's a distraction.
So first, just 1% of Twitter users absorbed about 70% of the so-called Russian disinformation, meaning that's a tiny fraction of overall users who encountered actual Russian trolls. These users were overwhelmingly partisan Republicans. There is no reason to think that masses of gullible swing voters who might have voted for Clinton were hoodwinked by Russia and then voted for Trump instead.
I am so offended. I don't use that word lightly, but I'm so offended by Adam Schiff's complete disregard for the Constitution. There's a free press in our country, and it's not just a free press when you agree with the free press. It's not just a free press for the left or the right. The fact that he had the temerity to ask a private body to engage in what is censorship, there's no other way of putting it, censoring the free press is abhorrent. And you can't have a society that is based around free speech and free press that functions when you have government agents like this. And I'm going to say it till I'm blue in the face. Section 230 immunity should be on the line when you have a member of Congress, a government body, when the government is in Democrat hands predominantly doing this.
That's the whole thing, is that just maybe 3 months ago, less than 3 months ago, he was out. Less than 3 months ago, he was out and he was giving satellites, Starlink satellites out in Ukraine to help Ukraine in their war effort. He was providing these satellites. Now, the moment he was celebrated, it was like, oh my God, you're a hero. Thank you, Elon Musk, for giving out these satellites. The moment he buys Twitter, oh my God, you're a villain. How dare we don't want a billionaire owning too much. I'm like, how many billionaires already own too much?
Yeah.
Is anyone out talking about how much Bill Gates is buying up farms? Do you see any celebrities being pissed off of what Bill Gates is up to and questioning his motives of him owning fact checkers or anything that he owns? No, you don't hear a fucking word about it. But the guy that owns Tesla, you want to complain about it. So Alyssa Milano, she's a celebrity that came out and pretty much embarrassed herself. She got ratioed pretty bad on Twitter for saying that, she's like, I don't like Elon Musk now that he's bought Twitter. We don't need billionaires owning things. I'm going to return my Tesla, and now I just bought myself a Volkswagen. I don't want to support anyone who's a campaigner for white supremacy. And then people are like, Alyssa, you do know Volkswagen was built by the Nazi Party. You know, the company was started by Nazis. And she just didn't have a proper response for it. And then all her old tweets got leaked of her pretty much saying how much she loved Elon Musk. And it was asking if you had a chance to have a celebrity dinner with someone, who would it be? And she named like 3 people, and then one of the 3 was Elon Musk. You know, so it's just like people were praising this guy left and right, but now that he owned a platform that the government was looking to weaponize, they sent all the celebrities out as messengers to campaign anger and turn on him.
Yeah.
And to try to paint the narrative he's a bad person. And it shows you how much control old media used to have. Old media used to be able to control the narrative. They're pissed off at YouTubers, which is new media, because we can see the notes and compare, like, wait a minute, a few months ago you guys were praising him. Now he's a bad guy? Just like, what? You know, like, no, like, we don't believe you. You need more evidence. And it's just like, no, we can see that based on the information you guys publicly shared about Twitter and its involvement to some degree with Western governments, and only people that watch UN type things would hear about it. Local news people wouldn't hear about it, and your national news in America, you wouldn't hear about it. But anything with the World Economic Forum or the UN Security Council, they've been talking about them weaponizing Twitter for a long time and wanting to use that across the board on other social media platforms. So it's a shame. It's a shame that what they tried to do with Elon. But Elon, thank you for being transparent, sharing those Twitter files with us, showing the collusion between government. They said it had been heavily infiltrated by former FBI employees and CIA employees that would quit DOD, which is Department of Defense in the U.S., which is like national security defense companies. They would work for DOD, which is branches of the government, Department of Defense, and they would transition over to Twitter and work behind the scenes. And they said it's worse in Facebook at the moment. They said Facebook has way more former FBI and CIA employees that are on their books, and they were purposely shutting down multiple profiles on Twitter, shutting down multiple profiles on Facebook and Instagram. A lot of people had their Instagram accounts closed over the year.
Oh, yeah.
I know quite a few. Yeah, but citing disinformation and misinformation that ended up coming out as true. So this is the length of that they're going to try to control populations. And guys, so just stay privy, stay aware. keep doing your research or whatever outside, I would say, traditional media, because you can see that they're not genuine. They're not genuine. They can't be trusted. It was already truth enough that most people don't trust their government. But now, you know, it needs to be very clear. You can't rely on cutting on the 6 o'clock news and finding them to be trustworthy, or your parents cutting it on while they're watching Dancing with the Stars and flicking between channels, that they're going to get reliable information. So whatever the narrative is, question it. Always question everything. You know, never believe the message that's being put out there, because you need to find out who's going to benefit from that type of control. You know, so
100%.
Yeah. So after Elon, I think the last subject of the year, as of current, let me just double check, because my brain is. Oh yeah, and last subject of the year we will cover in another topic, but it's just the fall of Marvel products.
Oh yeah.
The fall of mainstream television as a whole, and with all this diversity and inclusion pushing that they've been doing, which has been very manufactured and disingenuous, and people can see that it's manufactured, that you're forcing to put certain cultures into certain places, or gender swapping, or making announcements like the Lord of the Rings season 2. They just made an announcement that on season 2 they're not going to have any male directors.
Oh yeah. And
it's like, why are you telling us that? What are you trying to gain out of that? It doesn't mean your show's going to be better. It doesn't. There's no. You're not. It has nothing to do with the value of the show. You just want social points for your ESG, your economic social governance, that all corporations have to abide by. Thanks to Klaus Schwab, one of the tyrants on the planet, who's trying to alter things. He loves what China's doing at the moment. But shouts to China. You have complete control and sovereignty over your country. I'm not here to criticize how you run your country. I think every country should be able to run their country however they see fit, whether that's Afghanistan, whether that's in Qatar, with Qatar right now, and the World Cup, and them complaining Qatar is not representing LGBTQ. Like, Qataris don't care about that. They got real shit to be concerned with. They have real problems. You know, and if they have any problems, and what the thing is that they don't have any problems. Qataris said, they were talking to Andrew Tate recently, and he was saying in Qatar, and also Piers Morgan, he said when he's in Qatar, he said Qataris will walk up to us Westerners and they say, you think your people think we want to be like them. Your Western people think we want to be like them. And they said we don't. You guys have unorganized crime, you have random stabbings, you have random shootings, you have obesity, wild sexual dysfunctionality, you have chaotic social structure. They said we don't want that for ourselves. We have prestige, we're clean, we take care of our people, we have our own culture, our own values. And so sorry, as much as you guys think because we like some of your movies that we want to be you, we don't. It's entertaining you guys are so effed up. Mm-hmm. That you kill each other and you do dumb stuff that you can make movies behind it. But we don't want our world to be reflective of your Western ideology. So salutes to all the countries that do their own thing. They have a right to run their country however they see fit. And we have no moral authority to go in anyone's country and tell them how to run their people and how to control their people. We don't. Sorry. We've been invading countries for a very long time. So yeah, as far as Marvel and your whole Disney and any of these companies that are pushing for diversity, let it come in a natural way. That's my only advice to you. You know, I'm in entertainment, you know, so I'm not trying to burn any bridges per se. You guys have a right to control your company however you see fit. But once it hits you fiscally and you start losing money, that's on you at the end of the day. And is it really that important that you try to get social points over your company either making money or making relatable content that can appeal to a wide audience or whatever? The amount of shows that tend to focus on LGBTQ is a bit insane, because it's like, it's not everybody's reality. It may be the reality of Los Angeles, but the entire planet is not Los Angeles, you know? And even if you're trying to put out some sort of social messaging or whatever, just have it come out in an ethical way. Otherwise, it's jarring, it's unnecessary. We see a unnecessary jarring sex scene or X scene, you know, or we just see something we just see something that is just not it's not well sewn into the project, and you're doing it for brownie points, and everyone can see it because it doesn't feel right when you're watching it. It feels out of left field. So please do better with that. I love when they have a queer character in the show and it makes perfect sense and you don't need to announce it. I love movies and shows that are naturally diverse. Some of my favorite movies when I was younger was The Fast and the Furious.
Oh, yeah.
There's another film from 1995 called Hackers, which is an early film with Angelina Jolie. It was super diverse, but it was about computer hacking. And it was all these hackers from all over the world from different cultural backgrounds, and it was a really dope film in the 90s. If you haven't seen it, you gotta watch it. It's a pop culture film that must be watched. There's certain films that must be watched. Like, if you it's like if someone had never seen The Fast and the Furious before, you would tell them to watch the first film.
Oh yeah,
it's essential that you watch. It's a pop culture film. You have to watch it because it set off a movement, you know, with street racing or something underground. It's like a dance film. Like you would tell somebody to maybe watch You Got Served or some sort of dance film, you know, that started some sort of movement with things where everyone wanted to start dancing because of it. Those movies are important to pop culture, 100%. And they normally put them in, I think it's the American Film like museum, because they had such an impact on pop culture that, you know, it became significant. Terminator, for example, that's a movie that became so impactful, you know, it did its thing. But yeah, just have these queer characters come out naturally. Don't do it for the disingenuous brownie points, you know, and race swap and gender swap. And African Americans, please stop taking European sloppy seconds. We don't need a African Little Mermaid. We don't need an African Muriel. Do what they did with Moana, and me and Benda mentioned that before in another video. Yeah. Do what they did with Moana and give us an original IP. We're worth having an original IP and not some story about another African tribe that enslaved other African tribes. No Woman King stuff, okay? You know, so it's the lowest box office year for Hollywood. So, you know, we hope the next year is going to be a blast.
Well, hopefully it changes.
Hopefully it changes and much better. But please take warning that, you know, your audience has credibility. Shouts to Henry Cavill, because he gives a lot of fans a lot of love and is saying that their critiques are valid. Their critiques are valid because they're the people buying your tickets. They're not toxic fans. These are people that are willing to pay for stuff, you know, and they just want something to come out organically, respect the source material, respect the lore. You got a lot of people that you would deem nerds, but they love these characters. These are legacy characters. They mean something to these people. And honestly, I don't want to take a role that wasn't meant for me. I don't want to roll as a African.
Well, you don't want to be Zelda or something.
Yeah, I don't want to be an African Zelda. You know, if Zelda wasn't historically African and they have some sort of folktale towards it or whatever.
He's got blonde hair. He's white.
Yeah,
which is fine.
Exactly. I mean,
and blue eyes.
I can do cosplay stuff for fun if I want to in a comedic way, but it's still, I don't want to culturally appropriate. I don't want to take from somebody else's story. I want them to be able to tell their story. Doing it in a stage play capacity is another thing because that's fun. But if you're not doing it in stage play capacity, then and you're doing it for TV, it's disheartening because, you know, it affects real people. Those who control images control minds. So yeah. So anyhow, see, we're already in the future. New Year's Day comes here first in New Zealand.
Yes.
Don't you guys forget it. We get New Year's here before
first
anywhere. Well, Easter Island maybe. Somebody's ahead. We don't count. They don't count.
They don't count.
Western governments. No, I'm joking. Anyhow, yeah, we get New Year's here first, you know. So, but anyhow, guys, we love you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in with us for
this year.
Dudes Brewing for 2022 first year. It's been a good start for us. We're a humble channel, so we're at the early days. Channels don't normally blow up until they get to 100 videos. So we got a long way to go, but trust me, we're going to be clipping shorts. We're going to be doing all kinds of things. We got new segments coming up. We got Dude News.
Coming next year?
Next year, we're going to be on the ground. We got some hustle and bustle. We're going to interactive with the community, guys, and we want you guys to be active with us. And we want to keep helping people with life lessons and pop culture, dating, and the things we have to live with each other. So 100%. That's male and female dynamics, you know, on Earth. You know, you're pretty good to your pets, which is great, but you need to know how to deal with your neighbor and deal with each other and the opposite gender. So yeah, much love to you guys.
Thank you, and I'll see you in the new year.
We'll see you in the future, son. In the future, back to the future. You know, dudes brewing out. Peace.
SOS, triple X. I might just have to put it through a neck. I'm real, always get a pussy wet. Fly nigga, got a bitch that shoot up X. Like my ex, she a fiend for the best. I got money like a nigga selling tech. I'm LeBron, man, I always take the tech. And then a young nigga go and flex. I'm known as a nigga with the throne. Money on my head, so a nigga on his loan. This girl says she bad to the bone. I'm playing golf, so I put it in the fucking hole. Too many bitches pop out on the scene. The young nigga got a couple bands for the team. Team got the dope in the hand for the fiends. Every $100 pants, get my jeans.
Hey, pull up on Shawty with the tongue. Lick it till she sickly, she say I'm her number one. She know how I get when I ain't seen her in some months. Leave a spot with my breast, nothing like she was my